You've run out of frame wire mid-project. Seriously? Well, okay, don't panic. I've got a few ideas that might just save that project. Before we begin, I've got to say it. Always try to have enough frame wire to finish your project. But I know things don't always go to plan. You might measure it wrong, or accidentally cut through that wire or something. Well, don't give up on that project yet. The bad news is that if you're in this position, your design's probably going to have to change. Either to use just the wire you have, or to make a feature of adding in new wire. I would, however, think carefully about starting again if that wire is structurally essential to the piece. For example, if it's holding in a cabochon, supporting beads, or if it's what would keep the piece solid. But let's assume that isn't the case and have a look at the options. Let's take this piece as the example that we wanted to make. We've secured the cabochon and made the bail, but then we find we only have short wires left of, say, 1.5 inches, perhaps 4 or 5 centimetres, not near enough to make the embellishment down to the bottom. Well, that's okay. So we instead take it here and fix it to the frame. And if we really want more embellishment than that, we can add on more wire. Take a look at this piece, which is, I believe, the first wire weaving piece I ever did. I made a frame around the stone and made the bail. Then for the embellishment, I brought these wires down here, made the cartwheel, and the wires end here and here. And then the other 2 wires from the bail go across and down the left-hand side, ending here and in this little swirly bit here. But I realised the bottom part also needed some embellishment. And so this whole section is new wire added in and secured to the previous wires underneath with the weaving wire. Giving me a woven section, then the chance to bring one end up to embellish the side, then a swirl with the other wire, and this from the wire the other end, with the final wire heading up here to fill in that top section. Then I decided that wasn't quite enough and added in another little bit of wire for that final swirl here. It is a bit of a crazy piece, but I hope it illustrates the possibilities. But what if you're mid-weave and running out of frame wire? Well, that's okay, we can add in new wire. So here I have a bit of weaving I've started for a large project I'm doing. But this wire on the outside isn't going to be long enough. Now you might not have quite as much wire left as this, but for this solution I'd recommend at least 1.5 inches or 4 or 5 centimetres. We've woven around that wire, continued the weave across and back, and we're now at the point where we need to wrap that frame wire again. So this is where we're going to add in the new frame wire. We'll take the new piece of wire and cross it over the piece we're replacing, leaving a length of wire end about the same as the one we're replacing. And we'll just continue our weave over just that new wire, ignoring the old one. Then back across and continue the weave as before. Once we've woven a reasonable distance to make sure everything's secure, or we could even carry on and finish this bit of weaving, we can then return to deal with those wire ends. And in this case, we're going to use them to make some embellishment. So we're going to take the old wire and bend it around. And then over the weave like so. And then we can curve the new wire end to match it. Then taking a new piece of weaving wire, we'll add that into one of those wires, and weave them together. And of course, you can take these wires in whatever direction you like, with whichever weave you want to. For another possibility, I'm using the same piece a little further down, and this time it's one of the inner wires that's running out. So we're going to weave up to that wire as before, then take our new bit of wire, lay it over the old one, and we might need to bend that old wire down a bit to accommodate it. Then continue the weave on the new wire. It can be a bit fiddly at first, but it'll be fine once there are a few wraps on there. And once we've woven away from that area, we can return to decide what to do with the ends. Because we've only got short wire ends this time, we can just create a little coil or swirl to finish them off. I like to bend the wire around to meet the direction it's going, just so it can't pull out. But then you can swirl it however you like. I'll leave this one bare, but you could also coil some weaving wire around it and then use that to attach the end to the base weave. We've also got the old wire end on the back, and we can create a little swirl there. No one's likely to see that one, but it will stop the wire pulling out or moving. So I hope that gives you a few ideas on how you can finish your projects. So have you needed to add in new frame wire to a project? Let me know in the comments below which of these methods you've used, or if you've got another idea that I haven't even mentioned. Don't forget to subscribe for more techniques and tutorials. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.